So, look here. I'm going to read this. Yes, we have the first American, African American, Asian American, first woman vice president. They are a match like the Obamas, Joy Reid has told us Wednesday afternoon. CNN's political director, David Changin, which I'm sure is Jewish, said the lights in the reflecting pool. Remember the bird that flew into the window? The lights in the reflecting pool. So what is the reflection? It could have been at left, as is on the left, so is on the right. But they did on top to bottom instead, because they used, in those days, they used water as the reflective instead of a mirror. But it's the same principle. So as above, so below. Now it would be a mirror on the wall, as for the right, same for the left. Right? It's a mirror. So the reflecting pool, remember the bird that flew into the window? And what did the guy say? I think the thing got confused by the reflection. We're extension of Joe Biden's arms. Uh-oh. We all know what Joe Biden does with his arms and kids. Embracing America. More kids. The truth is that Joe Biden is a fig leaf. What is the fig leaf? Class, anybody? Do you remember what the fig leaf is? The fig leaf is what they covered their nutsack with. It's also what the Masonic apron represents, I believe. That's what the apron is. It hides their ball sack because it represents the naughty bits and what went on there. What created the as above, so below? And God made man in his image. He made man in his image, right? He made man in his image. It's a reflection. It didn't say he made him in God's image. He said he made him in his image. And even the word God, so understand that this is not going to be something some people are going to like. Understand who wrote it and from what aspect. If you were to take the word God and hold it up backwards, hold it up to a mirror, in the reverse, it'll say dog. And many of you have heard this where they said dog is God backwards. It's because it's a reflection. Because the dog, the owl dog, is the one that created in the mind of the child, right? Created man in his own image. Do you understand? So the owl dog, which is not the creator of all things, right? I'm going to do a bigger video and show you how all this works. When they talk here, said the lights in the reflecting pool. The lights. So here, let me just bring this up. You see these two pictures? You see this here? You see that doorway with that light? This is actually the black cube. You see that dot? You see this over here? You'll see, if I go back, you see that this is actually a cube back here. It's not the sky. There's a cube. And so what that is, and I'll show you how this works. That is representation of the mind. That's the thing that goes boom in the head, symbolically, that creates all the fake realities in their head. So the light in the reflection pool. Boom. Fractal story, right? This is what they're doing. That's what the whole sodomy is. Ritualistically doing this to these kids. When you look at this is a 3D version that's been put into 2D, basically. This looks like the side of a pyramid. It's not. What it stands for is it, see that white light up there? It's the same one that's here. This is actually like a road to infinity. So no matter where you walked around this thing, you would always be looking at this road that went to infinity. This is their thing, man. This is what they do. Right? So that Ocasio broad, that AOC, she said, oh, when I was in there, they came in, they tried to rape me in the Capitol. They did, but only in her mind. She wasn't even in the building, because you got to understand, she wasn't anywhere near that place. But in her mind, she was. It was real, but it was fake as fuck. I'll get more into this. Just understand the way they're writing this stuff. Right? Fig leaf, reflecting pool, light, Joe Biden's arm embracing. You know where that's going, right? Because they're getting into the sex thing. And this is what happens. This is what they do to kids. Shining. See it? So I'm giving you guys snippets. So when I make the bigger video, I don't have to make like a 2-hour video. And I can show you how this works. It's all fractal. It's like scales of music. It's like a rotating wheel or a tesseract or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But when they use the phrase, the reflecting pool, right? The reflecting pool were extensions of Joe Biden's arms. Extensions, right? In the mind. Remember what I told you? Israel is not a country. It is on a map. But what it represents is a state of mind. Egypt was a state of mind. Babylon was a state of mind. Right? So when the Jews say in their writings that they escaped from Egypt, they didn't run out of a country. They got away from some situation that they couldn't break free from. The same thing when they said, "Oh, well, we were prisoners in Babylon." Well, that's just story. It's the same thing. It was a state of mind. It's like cigarettes. I couldn't give it up, so you could call cigarettes Egypt and say, "Fuck! I tried to get away from Egypt, and the son of a bitch has followed me." It's like a bad habit that you tried to break. It's a state of mind. This is the way that they write it. And Doreen will back me up. It'd be one of the few things that she actually backs me up on. Israel is a state of mind. Egypt was a state of mind. Babylon was a state of mind. Samaria was a state of mind. These are different things that they dealt with. Remember, this stuff was written for them. It wasn't written for us. So that's why this shit is so foreign, and it's also why it's so well misinterpreted. Because the guys, King James was a Mason. I ain't got a problem with that. Who cares? Most of those guys, and I know a few, they're just businessmen. They're just networking. And they are not the Masons of old. I'm going to tell you that right now. Not anywhere close. Right? But he was a Mason, but he was an old school Mason. So he knew the dark arts. And he was gay. Don't care about that either. But he incorporated that understanding of things into the writings. You get it? So, for instance, a resurrection to you, it might be Jesus raising from the grave. To him, it was a guy getting a stiff dick at 5 o'clock in the morning. Right? Do you understand? The boulder in front of the cave, that's Jesus coming out of the cave. Kind of like in their version, it's a woman who has her hand in front of her vagina, and then she moves it out of the way. Right? And then they got the resurrection. Do you understand how they take that story and they spin it around because it's all sexual to them? Right? Because this is the thing that keeps them going. It's their thing. It's not our thing. It's their thing. So, what God is to them is not to you. This is not the creator. They created man in their own image. God, dog, the guy that did them. The person created man in their own image, in their head. Sometimes you'll hear this where people say, "Oh, there was 1,000 eyes looking back at me." Yes, every one of those eyes was yours. Because it's just a reflection. Neo in the Matrix was called the One. Why was he the One? Because you automatically assumed he was the one that they prophesied about. But that doesn't mean what it is. Neo was the only one. There was nobody there but him. It was all in his fucking skull. Right? The World Trade Center. All it was a symbolic gesture of the same sexual act, which is also in the Bible. The first 2 temples were destroyed. Right? That's what it says. The first temple got destroyed by the Jews, and then the second one of the Jews got destroyed. Left temple, right temple, on the brain. Temple 1, North Tower. Temple 2, South Tower. Both destroyed. Right? And then what did they do? From the 2, they created the singular 1 World Trade Center. Okay? That's what happens. They blow up the 2 sides of the brain. That's what the X is. They short it out. That's why they call gays pole smokers, because if you take two positive poles and you touch them together, you'll get a big-ass spark. It's not supposed to work like that. The system isn't wired that way. So, these are symbolic. All these things are symbolic of this act that they live for this act. I mean, I don't get it. But that's why it's in every fucking story. Because this is like their thing. That they keep doing it. And so they do it in their head, but then they do it fractally out here with us. You know? So somebody gets fucked in the ass and they blow their head up. They got to come rip down two goddamn giant skyscrapers because it's fractal and it represents something that just got done to some kid. Sounds bizarre, but it's kind of what it is. Letting the whole world know, oh, it's a new cycle. So we have to destroy everything from the old cycle to start the new one. Would you ever think about just fucking trying to make like the last one a little bit better? And stop fucking destroying every goddamn thing? I'm going to show you something. Hang on. A good friend of mine here on the page, she always amazes me. She always comes up with this crap, and I'm like, what did you have this? Why are you just finding out about it now? Like, I don't know, I forget about stuff. There's a huge gap between us Jews and the enemies, not just the ability in our morality, culture, sanctify of life, and consciousness. They are neighbors here, but it seems as if at a distance a few hundred meters away, there are people who do not belong to our continent, to our world, but actually belong to a different galaxy. Israel President Moshe Katsav, the Jerusalem Post, May 10th, 2001. Wow, that's interesting stuff. Well, that's neat. Hang on. We Jews, we are the destroyers, will remain the destroyers forever, and nothing you can do will meet our needs and demands. We will forever destroy because we need a world of our own. I don't know who this guy is, Maurice Samuel, you Gentiles. And then it gives you the page number. This is what they do. I mean, it's what, look around you. People, just take off the fucking masks. They have no power if you don't do what they want. Do you understand? This is a group of people that don't, they're like 0, 1, 100,000 millions of all the people on the earth. And yet they're doing this crap? Why? Because they control the money system? Who cares? Fuck them. This, what they're doing is in their head, and they transpose it onto us out here. So all the insanity that goes on in their head first, then makes its way out here. And so it's a mirror image. As above, so below. Which means one is real and one is fake. What they're doing to us is a fake reality that's happening in their head and making us play out their fuck up. You'll see when I show you how this thing works. But for now, that's it for this.